Hello, thank you for joining me today for my podcast where I'm reading through the entirety of my book, The Ultimate A to Z of Business English Idioms. Every episode of this podcast is a different letter. Today we're tackling idioms that begin with J. Now, if you're new to my podcast, what I do in each episode is I read through a letter of my book of idioms starting from A right through to Z. And at the very end of the episode, I will give you a quiz to make sure you've locked in learning and remembered the usage and meaning of all these idioms. Let's jump right in. Okay, if you're following this podcast from home and you have my book, then we're on page 65 of the book. Of course, if you're just watching the video, then no problem. I'm putting the whole entire page or all the pages of my book up on the screen. I believe knowledge should be shared. Like I wrote this book for people to learn, so I'm happy to do that. So the entire page that I'm reading through is going to be up on the screen. If you're listening to this episode of my podcast, don't worry, I'll give you lots of repetition. We'll dive really deep into each of these idioms. So you don't actually need to see them. Let's save the episode for later and go back if you need to review some of the idioms. And again, at the end of the video, there will be a quiz to make sure you've remembered and locked in learning of all these idioms. So don't worry, we'll have lots of repetition and a quiz at the very end of this episode. Okay, let's jump right in. Very first one, page 65, is jack of all trades. Okay, jack of all trades is a fantastic idiom. It's incredibly neutral. This can be something positive, it could be something negative, it could be something neutral. I'll give you the meaning and example right here. Okay, jack of all trades. A person who's skilled at different tasks, but not necessarily an expert in any. Example, John is a jack of all trades. He can handle marketing, sales, and even IT work. So in my example here, it's very positive, meaning John is a jack of all trades. He can do IT, marketing, and sales. So he has multiple skills across multiple departments, multiple industries, multiple sectors. Fantastic. This is positive. If you're interviewing for a small startup or a smaller company, they're going to want someone who's a jack of all trades. Now, of course, Jack is a man's name, but a woman can be a jack of all trades. I've heard people say Jane of all trades. It just sounds weird. That's not the idiom. Just say jack of all trades. So I'm a jack of all trades. I can do this, 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 and this. Fine. So I wrote my book, and I'm a professional with a business English background. Plus, I'm an English teacher. Plus, my background is also in graphic design. So I'm kind of a jack of all trades. When I put together my book, I did it all myself. So that's an example of a jack of all trades. So if you are interviewing and you're interviewing for a massive company, well, a big multinational, they don't really want jack of all trades as workers. They want people who are specialized in their one area. So if someone's a jack of all trades, it means that they're working across multiple different skills, multiple different tasks and jobs. Maybe they're not good at one thing. So be very careful with this one. Could be positive, it could be negative, and it's definitely a neutral idiom. It's very, very, very useful, very common as well. Okay, next one here is jam-packed. Now imagine a can of sardines. If you buy a can of sardines, you peel off the lid, and inside there's like 1,000 sardines in a little tiny can. Well, they're jam-packed. So jam-packed means that something is completely crowded or full. So this could be a place is crowded with people. The train was jam-packed on the way to work today. So it just means he had only standing room and hardly any breathing room. Imagine the subways in Tokyo. I mean, that's very famously known to be jam-packed. So jam-packed just means it's incredibly busy and full. But of course, your schedule could be jam-packed. So my schedule is jam-packed this week. I have no time for a coffee. Sorry, let's try next week. So I'll read you the meaning and example here for jam-packed. Jam-packed, completely full or crowded. Example, my schedule for the conference is jam-packed with no room for ad hoc meetings. Okay, so jam-packed, it means I have no room for anything. This is very, very common. And when you're talking about something that's completely full, it's jam-packed. So you can say the conference was jam-packed. And by intonation, I'm saying, wow, the conference was jam-packed, full of great, wonderful speakers, wonderful events, jam-packed. Or the conference was jam-packed, meaning full of people or full of meetings. So depending on your intonation, jam-packed could be positive or negative, because when things are full, it's fantastic. If it's full of good things, if it's not full of good things, then it's jam-packed, and that's your intonation that goes down. So it's a great one. Okay, next one is join forces. I'm going to read to the meaning and example first here. Join forces to work together with others to achieve a common goal. Join forces. Okay, two departments joined forces and submitted their complaints to HR. So let's say the sales department had some complaints for HR about one of the managers, and HR didn't really listen or take on board their suggestions or their complaints. So the sales department gets together with the finance department, and they also put in a complaint. Well, now they've joined forces to get more power to present to HR. Now HR has to listen to them because more people came together. So it means to work together with someone in with a common goal, a common aim. Something you guys have in common that you want to achieve together is to join forces. This idiom comes from military. I mean, if you have some soldiers here and some soldiers here, separately you're kind of weak. Well, you join forces and come together, you're pretty strong. So join forces is fantastic. So an entrepreneur, an entrepreneur, I mean, sometimes it's a lonely thing trying to build a whole business and a whole world. So you want to join forces with other movers and shakers. This means important people. You want to join forces with other entrepreneurs. Bring your two brains together and you'll be stronger and better. So join forces is fantastic. If you're talking or pitching to someone about them working with you, hey, I'd like to join forces. I want to come together and work with you. I want to work together and we'll be stronger together. So this is a great one, join forces. Okay, next one here, judgment call. And judgment call, this is a beautiful one. I'm going to read you the meaning and example first, then I'll dive deeper into it. Judgment call, I love this one. In my book, if you notice, next to some words, and you're going to see it on the screen as well. I do have a little purple flag, and those are the most common idioms that I have found people use in business English, in global business English. So judgment call does have that purple flag next to it because it is really common. Judgment call, meaning a decision based on personal judgment rather than fixed rules. Example, it was a judgment call to extend the payment terms past 60 days. So judgment call, a personal decision, not based on rules, or even not even based on evidence or data. So, for example, my example here, it was a judgment call to extend the payment terms past 60 days. So your company has a policy, payment must be submitted within 60 days. That's your policy. Those are the rules. The contract says that everyone's happy. But maybe there's a client you work with for a very long time. They're having some financial difficulties, money flow issues, and it was a judgment call to allow them to pay later. So it was your personal decision. Maybe you think this client's incredibly important to the company. Maybe you're honoring their loyalty. So it's when you make a decision that's really not based on a rule or a policy or data or some empirical evidence. It's a judgment call. You think or feel this is the best decision. That's a judgment call. So you made a judgment. Think of a judge in court, right? They make a judgment. They have all the information coming towards them and they have to decide what is right and what is wrong, what their decision is going to be. That is their judgment call. So this is actually really good in the moment if you're dealing with a really important meeting, perhaps with an unhappy client or you're negotiating something. And in that moment, you can say, this is hard for me to make a judgment call right now, meaning I can't make a decision right now. I need more time to think about it. So even if you have all the evidence here, if you do have evidence and it's not clear from policy or rules or evidence, it's not clear what decision to take or which area to go in, you can see, I'm not ready to make a judgment call. Or, yeah, let's make a judgment call here. I'm going to go with this. So this is a decision you make based on your experience, your feeling, your thoughts. It's a great one. Okay, next one is juggle. Just juggle. And I mean, if you've gone to the circus, you're going to see a clown, and the clown has balls, and they keep all the balls in the air. And that means to juggle. Well, juggle in business English and in regular life means you have every single ball is a task or responsibility, and you can't drop them. You have to keep them up in the air, and that's what it means to juggle. This is incredibly important. So think about multitasking, working with multiple clients, working with multiple projects, working with multiple staff, departments, companies. I mean, if you're an entrepreneur or if you're a freelancer, you're juggling multiple clients. So to juggle means you're working with multiple things at the same time. I'm going to read you the meaning and example here. Juggle, to manage multiple tasks or responsibilities at the same time. Example, as a small business owner, you have to juggle tasks to keep business on track. Okay, so again, this is great for interviewing. So if you're interviewing for a company, and of course, they might ask you, we're going to be giving you a lot of tasks. How well do you juggle multiple tasks? Oh, I juggle multiple tasks, no problem. I'm used to juggling. I'm very efficient in juggling multiple tasks or projects, meaning all those are balls and I'm going to keep them up in the air. I'm not going to drop a single one. Okay, next one is jump on the bandwagon. Bandwagon is those old wagons that they cover in fabric. And at one point in history, a lot of people went from the east coast of the states to the west coast of the states because that's where gold was and silver was and work was. And people would ride their bandwagons west. Now, everyone was going west. So people thought, oh, well, maybe I should be going west. So to jump on the bandwagon nowadays as an idiom just means to do something because other people are doing it or because it's popular. This is fantastic. So many companies have adopted AI for customer service reviews. We should jump on the bandwagon. It means everyone's doing this. We should be doing this as well. Let me read you the meaning, an example here. Okay, jump on the bandwagon to start doing something because it's popular or because others are doing it. Example, many companies jumped on the bandwagon and launched subscription plans. Oh, yeah, subscription plans. Those are the worst. You can't buy anything anymore because every company jumped on the bandwagon for subscription plans. So if you're in a brainstorming session, an innovative session, a call talking about how to move a company, department, pitch, product, service ahead, and your competitors are doing something and it's successful, then okay, we should jump on the bandwagon and do this. Or if everyone has already jumped on the bandwagon, well, then maybe you don't want to jump on the bandwagon. You want to do something different because that bandwagon's now full. So sometimes you choose not to jump on the bandwagon to be different, or you need to jump on the bandwagon because it's popular, it's successful, everyone's doing it. It's a great one. Okay, next one is jump out at. So jump out at. My hand surprised you. It made you look. So to jump out at is something you notice immediately. And I'm going to read you the meaning and definition here. Jump out at something that's immediately noticeable or obvious. Okay, the errors in the report jumped out at me as soon as I started reading it. So you prepare a report, you give it to your boss to run his eyes over, just to look at quickly, and you can go, you know what? The errors jumped out at me immediately. Just means they were obvious. They just jumped off the paper. Or I've just completed my presentation. Can you take a look and see if anything jumps out at you before I present it? Which means, can you look at it quickly to see if there's any errors that are obvious? So again, this isn't looking deep and having something jump out at you. No, this is like as soon as you look at something, you notice something. So something's quickly noticeable and you see it very, very quickly. That's to jump out at. Next one, jump ship. We use ship and marine idioms a lot. Come on board, onboarding. All this comes from the world of moving across the seas. So jump ship means I don't want to be on board anymore. I'm leaving. I'm going to jump off the ship to go to something else. This is what it means, jump ship. You're going to leave something you're already on or committed to. I'll give you the example here. So jump ship, meaning to leave a job or activity suddenly. Jump ship. Especially when things aren't going well. So kind of as if the ship is sinking or you're not enjoying being on the ship, you're going to jump ship. So for example, several key employees jumped ship when the company started facing financial difficulties. So many key employees were on board of the ship. They were part of the company. And then they noticed, oh, there's some difficulties. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I'm leaving. I'm leaving. They've jumped ship. They decided to leave because things aren't going very well. Or if you're in an interview and they say, listen, our company is just, it's a startup. It's going to be quite difficult. We want to make sure the person who comes on is not going to jump ship just when there's no work. And you say, no, I understand that. I will not jump ship. I'm committed for at least 1 year to this project. So jump ship, I'm going to leave. It's a good one. Okay, next one is jump the gun. Now imagine a race. Okay, so you have a race and there's there's 8 racers lined up to run on the race, and then you have the person with the gun, and they shoot the gun, and that means the racers can now race. Now, if someone jumps the gun, it means they started running before the gun went off. And this is what it means in business English: not to do things or not to take action before something's ready, before you actually have that gunshot saying it's okay to go. This is a really great one. Jump the gun. I'll read you the meaning, an example here. Meaning to start something too soon or ahead of the proper time. Example, let's not jump the gun by launching the new route before the vessel is secured. Okay, so you work in logistics. You found a great new route. You found all the suppliers. You found all the logistic providers. Everything's done. But there's no vessel yet registered for this shipment. So don't jump the gun and start promising this route to your customers. Don't jump the gun and start signing contracts with logistic providers until that vessel's secured. So to jump the gun means you're doing something too soon or before the proper time. And often we use it as a warning. Let's not jump the gun here. Let's make sure we have everything lined up, everything secured, everything in place before we move forward. So this is a fantastic one. I think I've said with every idiom, this is a good one, and this is a fantastic one. And I mean, they are. When I wrote this book, I mean, I put in over 330, 325 essential business English idioms. I started with, oh gosh, way over 500. And I thought, well, this book has to be something that people can read in a certain amount of time. So I did bring down the idioms from over 500 to 300 and change. And I brought them down to these ones because these are the essential good ones. So they're all good. That's why I'm saying this is a great one or a good one, because they're all good and they're all great. Okay, anyways, next one. I got 2 more on this page. Jump through hoops. Okay, back to the circus. Back to the circus. Juggling, fine. And then you have jump through hoops. Have you ever seen those big hoops on a circus stage and the dog has to come and jump through the hoops and then jump through the hoops, and the hoop gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So for the dog to get to his goal of getting a little treat from the very beginning, he has to jump through this complex little maze of hoops. Well, this is what it means in business English. To jump through hoops means to go through an unnecessarily complicated, long, or difficult process. I'll give you an example here. I'll give you the meaning first, then example. Jump through hoops. To go through a difficult or complicated process to achieve something. Example, City Hall had us jumping through hoops to get the permit for the new building. Oh, government. Oh, permits. When you do want to get a permit for building, nothing's easy. Paperwork at the government office, things have to be signed by this department. Nothing's straightforward. It's not like an online application and done. No, there's multiple stages. It's very complex. It's very complicated. It's often very long, longer than it needs to be. That's jump through hoops. So if something is difficult to achieve, you're jumping through hoops. So that client finally signed with us. We've been jumping through hoops for months with them. So they're constantly changing their demands. They're changing the scope of the project. They're changing the contract terms. They're making it overly difficult. You're having to jump through hoops. Oh, I was going to say it's a good one. I'm not going to say it. They're all good. Okay, next one. Jump to conclusions. Jump to conclusions. I mean, to jump to anything, you're going directly from where you are to the final place. So jump to conclusions means you're forming conclusions, forming an opinion about something, probably before you should. I'll read you the meaning and example here. Jump to conclusions to make a decision or judgment without having all the facts. Okay, example, let's not jump to conclusions about why the client canceled the meeting. Okay, so your top client canceled the meeting. You just get a text message, sorry, we can't attend the meeting this afternoon. We'll be in touch. Now everyone's scared going, did we make a mistake? What did we do? What does this mean? Don't jump to conclusions. It just means don't think about it. Don't think of worst case scenario. Don't think of what could have gone wrong. You don't have all the information. So once you have the information, then you can understand what went wrong. But don't jump to conclusions. So this is really important. I applied for a position. I thought my CV was great. The interview went really well. They said, you're a great fit for this position. They haven't called me. So I guess I didn't get the job. And your coworker can say, or your Husband or wife can say, well, don't jump to conclusions. Maybe they're on holiday. Maybe the HR manager is off sick. You don't know. So until you have all the facts, don't make a decision. Okay, next one is jury is out. Now, a jury, if you don't know what a jury is, in a lot of court systems, they'll have a jury, and a jury is a collection of people. I don't know if it's 8 or 10 people. They're regular citizens who come in, watch the court case, and they decide if the person's guilty or not guilty. And that's the jury. So the jury sits there through the entire court proceedings. Then they will go out into their room, discuss if the person is guilty or not, and then come back. So if we say the jury's out or jury's out, it means no decision has been made. Let me read you the meaning and example here. Jury is out, a decision or a judgment has not yet been made. So the jury is out on whether the merger was a good move. So your company did a merger, and was it good for your company? We don't have stats yet. We don't know. The jury's out. So the jury's out. We don't know if it was a good decision or not yet. Meaning we don't have the full information. No decision has been made yet. We can't make a judgment. The jury's still out. We need more details, more time. Or, I quit my job. I'm really excited about it. I'm going to move into a whole other field. Is that a good decision? I don't know. The jury's out. It means until I move into the new field, I won't know if this was the best move or not. So the jury's out means that we don't know if something was a correct decision or something will be, is just in the nick of time. Now, the nick of time, if you were to nick something, let's say you're moving furniture and the furniture hits maybe a bit of the wall and you get a little tiny piece of the wall that comes out that the furniture took out, or vice versa. You put your suitcase in a hotel and you put it too fast against, the TV stand, and you nicked the TV stand. A tiny little piece of the TV stand came out. That is called a nick. The verb is also a nick. So just in the nick of time just means in the smallest amount of time. It just means at the very last minute. I'll read you the meaning and example here. Just in the nick of time, at the last possible moment before it's too late, often when a situation is urgent or on the brink of failure. I'll read you the example here. The company received funding just in the nick of time to avoid bankruptcy. This is also like under the wire. So last minute. So we were late to the airport. The traffic was horrible. The security line was too long, but we made the flight just in the nick of time. So the moment they were calling last call to board the flight, you were able to go through. So at the very, very last moment is just in the nick of time. Or negotiations were failing. Things weren't going really well. The client had to leave in a minute, and we finally solved the problem and we settled all of our issues just in the nick of time before he had to leave. Or I'm going to be late for a meeting, but I get there just in the nick of time. For example, you log into a meeting and your computer decides to update and you can't be late for this meeting, not even by 1 minute, because all the big managers are there, but you were able to log in exactly on the hour. You got there just in the nick of time. It's fantastic. Okay, and last one is just the ticket. This is a beautiful one. This is fantastic. If something is just the ticket, it's the one thing you can use to solve a problem or have the result, the effect that you want to achieve the results that you want. I'll read you a meaning and example here. Okay, just a ticket. Exactly what's needed or desired to improve or achieve a situation or process. Just the ticket. I'll give you an example here. This new inventory software is just a ticket for improving our warehouse productivity. So our warehouse productivity is not so good. It's the pits. The pits means bad. Our warehouse productivity is not so good. Okay, we need something that's going to solve the problem. Oh, this new software is just a ticket. So now this will give us the results we want. It's going to solve this problem and improve it. Or you're at work and you have a headache, and this member of staff comes by and saying, oh, are you feeling okay? I'm like, oh, I've got a headache and I got a big presentation. Oh, I got an ibuprofen for you. And they give you an ibuprofen. And they come see you half an hour later. How are you feeling? Oh, that ibuprofen was just the ticket. Meaning that's exactly what I needed to improve my situation to get the results I was looking for to feel better. Or a client comes in saying, listen, we're not really happy with the service you're giving us. We feel like we're paying a lot of money and not getting as much in return that we expect for the money. What can you do for us? And you can go, okay, well, we'll give you a 20% discount on the next invoice, and we'll give you an extra level of service that we didn't offer you in the past. And the client's happy. He goes, that's just the ticket. That's exactly what's going to improve. That's exactly the result I wanted out of this meeting. That's just the ticket. Okay, you've done it. Now, there we go. Now we're going to go down to our conversation. Now, if you do have the book, we're on page 66 of the book. This is a dialogue, and I've created a dialogue here between two startup pitch investors named Carl and Stuart. What I've done is I've included all basic business vocabulary, and I'm going to highlight for you on the screen in bold, and obviously when I speak as well, for those just listening to the podcast, I will highlight which word needs to be replaced by an idiom that you've just learned. Okay, let's take a look here. Dialogue, startup pitch to investors. Stuart says, Carl, a lot of companies are following the trend with e-com automation. What makes yours different? Okay, a lot of companies are following the trend. What's an idiom, following the trend? Do you remember? Carl responds, great question, Stuart. While others focus on automation, ours personalizes the shopping experience in real time. Stuart replies, I see your team is small. How are you handling the operations? Carl responds, well, I'm a versatile worker, handling marketing and product development. A versatile worker, someone who can do many different things, versatile. Think of an idiom for that. But with the funding, we'll bring in experts. Stuart responds, managing everything must be tough. Carl says, definitely. I constantly work on multiple tasks, but we're staying on track. So work on multiple tasks. Think of an idiom for that. Have you considered working with a bigger company? Working together with someone. Think of an idiom for that. Have you considered working with a bigger company? Carl responds, yes, we're in talks with a logistics provider to expand faster. Stuart says, your deadline's close. Think you'll secure the funding? Carl responds, the future is unclear. But if we do, it will be barely in time to launch our next phase. The future is unclear. Something is unclear. Think of an idiom for that. But if we do, it will barely be in time to launch our next phase. Barely be in time. Almost not in time. Think of an idiom for that. Stuart responds, your solution might be the best option. Let's discuss this further. Something's the best option. Think of an idiom for that. Best option. Carl responds, that's great. I know your schedule is full, so I appreciate your time. I know your schedule is full. Think of an idiom for full. So I appreciate your time. Okay, so again, follow the trend. Versatile worker. Work on multiple tasks. Working with someone. Something's unclear. Barely in time. The best option. And full. Let's go through. I'm going to read the dialogue for you now with these idioms. Hopefully you're able to guess a lot of these idioms. Okay, here's the answers of the dialogue. Carl, a lot of companies are jumping on the bandwagon with e-com automation. What makes yours different? Jumping on the bandwagon. Great question, Stuart. While others are focusing on automation, ours personalizes shopping experience in real time. I see your team is small. How are you handling operations? I'm a jack of all trades, handling marketing and product development. But with funding, we'll bring in experts. Managing everything must be tough. Definitely. I constantly juggle tasks, but we're staying on track. Juggle tasks. Have you considered joining forces with a bigger company? Working with. Joining forces. Yes, we're in talks with a logistics provider to expand further. Your deadline is close. Think you'll secure funding? The jury's out. It means we don't know. The jury's out. But if we do, it will be just in the nick of time to launch our next phase. Just in the nick of time. Your solution just might be the ticket. Let's discuss this further. Your solution just might be the ticket. Let's discuss this further. That's great. I know your schedule is jam-packed, so I appreciate your time. There you go. Hopefully you did well with this little quiz and the dialogue here. Great idioms. All of these, I mean, these are all great idioms. I can't imagine anyone working in business English globally not knowing these idioms. So hopefully you were able to get enough practice here with this little quiz, and I've given you enough examples. Again, if you are listening to the podcast, the entire pages of my books will be up on the video. So just save the video and come back later and take a look at it. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you back for the next letter. Thanks, guys.